Hi, Kitty Norman. Welcome to 10 by 6. Great to have you on. Thank you so much. Just really appreciate this. Kitty is the water safety delivery support. So you're basically advising and guiding people around the coastline and inland in terms of how they should be safe in the water. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. If we can start off with just a quick question about what are the key things that people need to consider in order to keep safe? Any age group, obviously there's going to be specific age groups that need to maybe behave differently, respond differently, but just across the board, what should they be doing around water?
Yeah, absolutely. So the RNLI encourages anyone, whether they're heading to the coast or even inland, just to be super kind of cautious around the water. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you are aware of kind of the weather and everything like that, and carry a means of calling for help.
Fantastic. Because a couple of weeks ago, it was a National Drowning Prevention Day. And obviously a lot of things were going on in and around that time. And tragically, we've seen, unfortunately, a number of fatalities, both in the sea and in rivers and reservoirs in recent times. So in terms of, let's just focus on children. What would you say that, giving your message to parents and children, what should be the absolute guidance in that respect?
If you are planning to head to a beach, we always advise heading to a lifeguarded beach. And when you're at the beach, swim between the red and yellow flags. That's really nice and easy for kids to remember. And just look out for your family. Make sure you're keeping an eye on each other. And if you do see anyone in trouble, either alert the lifeguard or dial 999 and ask for the Coast Guard. Don't try to go in and rescue them yourselves.
And that's the key, isn't it? Yes. Don't try and rescue themselves, because you end up maybe causing another problem, that then the problem escalates and becomes more dramatic. So.
Absolutely. We have so many kind of situations of that around the coast, and it is really, really heartbreaking to see it. So just, yeah, remember to either alert the lifeguard or dial 999 and ask for the Coast Guard, and they can send the lifeboat round.
Fantastic. In terms of more to the inland waters like rivers and reservoirs, is there anything specifically different, obviously, people should be doing in that respect?
In terms of rivers and reservoirs, they can be so unpredictable. They can have undercurrents that you aren't even aware of. So we encourage everyone just to stay away from them. If you want to go for a swim, head to the sea, head to that lifeguarded beach, but they can just be so unpredictable.
In terms of, obviously, different times of the year, you get the levels of rivers rising and lowering depending upon, obviously, on conditions. So I guess the advice is where the water is building up and the water levels are much higher, is to keep well away from rivers at that time.
Absolutely, especially when it's flooding. We always say floodwater has a mind of its own. It can be so unpredictable. You're not really sure where it's headed to and what's going to be at the end of it. So we just advise everyone just to stay away from it.
In terms of the different things that are happening in more recent times, like people on bodyboard, is there any specific information you will be giving to them? Because I mean, when we go down to the beach, for example, usually you find you shouldn't be launching yourself off from the beach in this particular area. There's a designated area down here, but with bodyboards, people just seem to blow them up or pull them down the beach and jump on. So is there any specific information around managing the experience of bodyboards?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you head to a lifeguarded beach, there'll always be the red and yellow flags for you to be able to bodyboard in. If you're looking to do anything like surfing or paddleboarding, then there'll typically be checkered flags for you to look out for to launch and come back in on. But those will be the areas that the lifeguards will be keeping an eye on. So it's definitely best to stay within those areas.
Cool, thank you. And in terms of obviously calling a lifeboat, I'm just going back to an earlier point. Sometimes you may be stood on the beach, you may be seeing somebody really, really struggling, and there's not a lifeguard about, and obviously the lifeboat, you're probably calculating in your head, it's probably going to take at least 5 or 10 minutes to get to there. Is there anything that because people won't just stand there and watch somebody struggle and possibly drown in front of them. You know, and I know what the advice is probably going to be. You know, you must stick to this and stick to that. But for a lot of people, the emotions kick in and that sort of thing. And, you know, any advice for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do see someone in trouble in the water, there are a few things you can do. So let's say you have a football, you could throw it out to them and they can help use that to help keep them afloat. You know, look out for any, you know, throw lines, perry buoys, anything like that to chuck out to them. However, don't go in after them. That's usually when they have more than one casualty, and it then becomes a bit more of a mission for, you know, whoever's rescuing you. And I think just reassurance as well from the shoreline as well, letting them know that help's on the way and telling them to float.
Yes.
You know, floating on your back can save lives.
Floating on the back saves lives. I think that's a brilliant place to end. And I want to keep this short and sharp because obviously get the information out there. But thank you so much, Kitty, for coming on the show and on 10 by 6. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.